gotta say much more than that. If we lose, we out. Check that. Yep. Listen to that. If we lose, we are out.
Well, you heard it from Bears Pro Bowl defensive tackle Henry Melton. Bears need a win today to stay alive.
And I just keep it simple. That's it. If we win, we're not automatically in, but if we lose, we are out.
Bears won the toss, deferred. Olingo Mare gets things started. And this is Joyke Bell replacing Stephon Logan on returns for the Lions this week. Nice return by Bell. All the way out to the 33-yard line. Finally brought down by Jerry Franklin as we check out the NFC playoff picture.
And we got a little sorting out to do here on the final Sunday of the regular season. But as Henry Melton said, we cannot lose. The Bears have lost control of their destiny during the second half of the season. The best thing they can do right now is win and then have some help later this afternoon.
And that help would be a Green Bay win on the road over the Vikings. Matthew Stafford and the Lions have lost their last 7. Start from their own 33-yard line. Michael LaShaw in the backfield. As Stafford hands it off to LaShaw. And he will try and fight his way back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, it has been a disappointing season for the Detroit Lions. And this offensive line has done a heck of a job because really it's been just the passing game, and that puts a lot of pressure on these guys when you're backpedaling all afternoon long. Calvin Johnson, I don't know what else you can say that hasn't already been said. It's just unbelievable what he's been able to do this season, and also he's really been the only threat on the offensive side of the ball, and he's still put up those great numbers.
Lions with their 2, 3, and 4 wideouts all on injured reserve. So Johnson has been a one-man show as LaShaw takes it out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 6 as we check out the 5th-ranked Bears defense.
And a lot of pressure on these guys up front. That's the way that this Detroit or this Chicago defense is built. Again, Brian Urlacher did not make it back, so we've got Nick Roach in the middle, Geno Hayes at the outside linebacker position. Chris Conte also, one of the things that Lovie has always talked about is the play of his safeties. And look at those 2 Pro Bowl corners on the defense for the Chicago Bears.
So the Bears without 2 key starters on defense. 3rd down and 4. 2 tight ends for the Lions. Stafford looking to throw for the first time. Gets away from Melton. And then fires out of bounds. So the Lions go 3 and out on their opening possession.
He's had a heck of a season, and Chicago has really missed him. You know, the last couple of weeks he's been out with a clavicle, and he's such a quick inside pass rusher. And Tony, you always talk about pressure into the face of a quarterback being a huge problem.
Yeah, Henry Melton does a nice job. He has a one-on-one right there. Does a nice job with the swim move inside. You know, and quarterbacks, you know, they could feel that outside with their ends on the rush, but when they get that pressure and that push, you know, up the middle, that really affects them, as we saw in that last play.
Yakar is punting to Devin Hester, who does not have a return touchdown all season. And how about Kasim Osgood? He's gone to 3 Pro Bowls as a special teams star, and he allows no running room for Devin Hester. A loss of a yard on the return. Goose talked about Jay Cutler moments ago. Cutler leads the Bears offense onto the field for the first time.
And I agree with what Tony said. You know, Jay Cutler has had a heck of a year this season. And this offense has been very up and down. It's been inconsistent throughout the year. The offensive line is one of the big reasons why, and Jay Cutler has been one of the constants. He and Brandon Marshall have been excellent this season.
113 receptions for Marshall, new franchise record. Matt Forte in the backfield. Cutler with loads of time on first down, and he hits Alshon Jeffrey. A rookie out of South Carolina takes it deep into Lions territory. Cutler to Jeffrey, 55-yard pass play.
There's an aggressive start. Double move on the outside by the Chicago Bears. There's the bite. A good job avoiding that contact by Alshon Jeffrey. Now, this offense, we've talked about it being really Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall. If Alshon Jeffrey, he's been in and out of the lineup, I think he is that piece. And if he can have a good game today, and if Chicago makes it into the playoffs and he plays well, I think it's a big springboard for next year for this offense.
Jeffrey's longest reception of his rookie season. Off the play fake. This is the fullback, Evan Rodriguez. And he gets wrapped up by the right corner, Ron Bartel. Gain of 2 for Rodriguez.
Well, the inconsistency in the offense is because of this group right here. Chris Spencer gets the start over Gabe Karimi at right guard. That means in the last 7 games, they've had 6 different starting offensive line. They thought they had that solidified weeks ago. And when your offensive line is not playing great, it has an impact all over the board. You would expect more from this offense, though, Kenny. I mean, Matt Forte is on the verge of 1,000 yards. Brandon Marshall and what he's done on the outside, but it hasn't translated into a high-powered offense.
Not at all. Ranked 28th in the league. Play clock winding down. Cutler using an early timeout. So with the Bears on the move, 3 minutes gone by, first quarter in Detroit. Back in Detroit, early first quarter. Second down and 8 for Chicago. 2 tight ends set. This is Matt Forte. And he's bottled up by Justin Durant. No gain on the play. Lions defense, despite a number of injuries, ranked 13th in the league.
Yeah, but they haven't produced like they did last year in 2011, 34 takeaways, which leads to a +11 turnover ratio. These guys had 7 defensive touchdowns last year. They've had none this season. A lot of that comes from the pressure on the defensive line, and then there's the area that you talked about, Kenny. A lot of change during the course of the season for the secondary for the Lions, and we saw what happens when you have that on the opening play of this game with Alshon Jeffrey going over the top on a double move.
Third down and 8 for Chicago. Brandon Marshall in the slot to the right. And the play is blown dead.
False start. Number 79 offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Right tackle Jonathan Scott.
I think one of the things that's really important for not only this offense, but for Jay Cutler, is to get into an offensive rhythm, and right now they're not. They started off with their first 2 plays moving in a positive direction, but they had the play clock winding down, had to call the timeout. Now they've got a penalty, and that's been one of the issues for this offense during the course of the season, is they just get completely out of rhythm from time to time.
You got to look at Dominican Sue laugh a little bit at Jay Cutler, knowing that was an intimidation jump right there by that offensive line.
Third down at 13. As Cutler steps up, can't find anyone, loses the football, and it was initially recovered by Kyle Vanden Bosch. Forte will fall on it back at midfield.
And that's one of the things we just talked about, this defense having the opportunity to make big plays. Kyle Vanden Bosch has got an opportunity right there, and it literally slips through his fingers.
Cutler does a nice job of working the pocket. Got a little pressure from his right side, steps up, all of a sudden feels on the outside, tries to get set up, and he actually hits the ball out of his own hand.
Good hustle by Jamarcus Webb here to get this ball punched out from Kyle Vanden Bosch.
So Podlish waiting back at his 37-yard line. Mike Thomas back deep for the Lions. Calls for a no score. Calvin Johnson 108 yards away from the magical 2,000 mark. Some famous 2000s. Wayne Gretzky, 2,857 career points. The Iron Man Cal Ripken and Eric Dickerson, the NFL rushing record.
Right now it's the rushing record.
Adrian Peterson would love to surpass that in about 6 hours. Tony Scheffler picks up the Lions first down out to the 37-yard line.
And you got to be able to have somebody compliment what Calvin Johnson is doing on the outside. And Tony Scheffler should be able to exploit the middle of the field for the Detroit Lions with all that concentration on the outside to Calvin.
Calvin Johnson with 117 receptions leads the league. Well, Jerry Rice's single-season yardage record last Saturday against Atlanta. And that is catch number 1 today for Megatron in Bears territory. 18 yards.
Charles Tillman is going to have him the majority of the afternoon. And it was funny how he talked to us. He said, one of the things I have to do is I can't let Calvin get beyond me. He is so long with his arms and his reach, his stride, that once he gets on top of you, you've really kind of lost the battle at that point. I think that offers the opportunity for routes like that for Calvin Johnson to take advantage of.
3 wide receivers set from the 45-yard line. LaShore works his way down to the 40, gain of 5.
Again, it's been an unbelievable season for Calvin Johnson, and especially since there's really not that complementary piece with all the injuries at the wide receiver position, and those are unbelievable numbers. And you know, I don't consider them meaningless. I don't think it's a tarnished record, because he's done this where teams are trying to take him away. And here's one of the great things he's learned this season, the second half. He's in the slot right now. Now, this creates even a bigger issue for defenses because he's got a two-way go now.
On 2nd and 5, Stafford.
Tillman did a really nice job on him that last play. Pointed out that he was in this slot, going to give him a nice, right on the line of scrimmage, little shiver right there.
Yeah, as big as Calvin is, you know, Charles Tillman is big. Watch this battle down the field. You've got to be physical with him on the release. And just look at the position, the body position, cutting off angles. I mean, that is great defense by Charles Tillman right there.
Yeah, Calvin even knew that after the play. Man, he threw my timing off.
Tillman did a terrific job back in October, holding Johnson to a season-low 3 receptions for 34 yards in their prior meeting. Stafford on 3rd down and 5, moving to his right, able to get rid of it. He was under pressure, chased by Julius Peppers, and Johnson able to make the catch and has a Lions first down.
Not just the catch here. I like when after the catch, watch Stafford here scrambling out. Right after the catch, watch how fast he turns, knows where that first down marker is, and gets right across it. That's great awareness by him.
85 to go. It has never been done in the history of the National Football League. Stafford out of the shotgun, inside handoff. And it's LaShore down to the 30. We check in on the Giants and the Eagles with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
And an interesting start to that one. Philadelphia recovered an onside kick to begin the game, but then Michael Vick threw an interception on the opening possession. Giants turned into points. Eli took it up with Ruben Randall, 3-yard score. Giants lead at 7-0. They need to win and get a lot of help to make the playoffs, but so far so good for New York. Kenny?
And Kurt, the Giants and their fans keeping a close eye on this game because a Bears win would eliminate the Giants no matter what they do in their game against the Eagles. LaShore down to the 26-yard line, stopped 1 yard shy of the marker.
Nice balance by Detroit here, Moose. You know, running the ball and you know, also downfield throwing. I mean, something that we haven't seen.
Yeah. Michael LaShore has done a decent job, Tony. You know, he and Joy Bell as the running back tandem back in it. They really missed Javid Best. I mean, he's such an explosive element in the run game. But these guys, they run hard. They really do.
On 3rd down and 1, ball came loose. Bears say they have it. Officials trying to get to the bottom of the pile, and Bill Levy signals Chicago Bears football.
Looked like his hand was coming forward on that, but they're going to check.
Now, right now, you've got Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson getting together. I think there was some miscommunication on the outside here.
All turnovers are automatically reviewed. Back in Detroit, Bill Levy took a look at the last play. It was ruled
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward when he lost the ball. It's an incomplete pass. With the timer for 5:58 on the game clock. 5:58.
All right, we head to Los Angeles. Mike Pereira, do you agree with Bill Levy?
Oh, absolutely. You almost go back to January 2002, the old tuck play when it finally came out. You know, this is the thing. You know, to me, I don't like the rule anymore. And the referee looked at this as a fumble because he basically knew that Stafford was not attempting to throw the ball when it came loose. But the rule says if the hand starts forward, it's an incomplete pass, even if you're starting to bring it back towards your body. So that's the rule.
Here, Mike Pereira. Let's start a movement to get that rule amended.
All right, thanks, Mike.
I'm all for that. I think that's the offseason rule change let's propose.
And Jason Hanson able to connect from 44 yards out. So the Lions get a reprieve and take a 3-0 lead over the Bears. $3-0 lead for the Lions. Just under 6 minutes remaining first quarter as Jason Hanson sets an NFL record. Most career field goals from 40+. Hanson, the oldest player in the league. 42 years of age, now in his 21st season. Devin Hester is back deep for Chicago. Hester takes it out. Got 21 games since his last return for a touchdown. Ashley Palmer brings Hester down on special teams, so Jay Cutler and the Bears offense back on the field.
And one of the big things that's happened with this offense is not getting into that rhythm. And you can see just by Jay Cutler's performance through the course of the game. Look how he starts, but then look how he finishes. So it's always that balance of Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, trying to strike the balance for Jay Cutler in the play calling.
Bears start from the 20. Forte spins into the arms of Justin Durant. Time for another game break. Kurt Menefee.
Well, Houston can wrap up the top spot in the AFC with a win today against Indy, but not so fast. Andrew Luck picking up with Kobe Fleener. Chuck Pagano's first game back on the sideline for the Colts off to a good start. 7-0. Colts with the lead, trying to prevent Houston from wrapping up that top seed. Kenny?
Great to see Chuck Pagano back. Colts headed to the playoffs. What a story.
A fabulous story. One of the best stories in the NFL this season.
Indianapolis will be the number 5 seed in the AFC. They cannot move up or down. Cutler sets up the screen to Forte on 2nd and 8. Couple of nice moves. Forte with a first down and more as he heads up the sideline for 19 yards.
I'm gonna give this all to Matt Forte because this is a screen that's actually read well by Detroit. They're gonna have 2 defenders out on the outside with only 1 blocker, but watch how Matt Forte sets this up. Little dip inside, and then 1 blocker is able to take out 2 defenders. That's great patience and great setup for his offensive lineman.
New set of downs for the Bears. On the 40. Cutler getting rid of it quickly to Earl Bennett. And Bennett has another first down, and he will take it all the way. 60 yards for a Bears touchdown.
Unbelievable that a little screen to the outside can't get him down.
What happened to the safety support on that? I mean, how can you just hit a little bubble screen coming from the slot? It's going to be a nice block by Brandon Marshall on the outside on Ron Bartel. Once he seals that one, Louis Delmas, a horrible angle. Don Carey played it poorly. I mean, there was no safety help. Chris Houston is the corner on the opposite side of the field.
Bad angles by everybody. Guess they thought he was going out of bounds and they stopped. You can't stop. You got to go and act like the player's going to be in bounds like he was.
Cutler and Bennett, teammates at Vanderbilt. Longest completion of the season for Cutler. Lindo Mare, the extra point. Bears with a 7-3 lead. This Friday, one of the best bowl games of the year will be on Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against number 11 Oklahoma. It's the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic Friday, 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox.
Look, and he officially changed his name. It's no longer Johnny Manziel. It's Johnny Football.
Johnny Football.
Johnny Football. How about A&M in the SEC? There was a lot of concern what they were going to do. Kevin Sutherland's done a heck of a job with that team, making that move into the SEC.
So we look forward to the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic on Fox this Friday. Joique Bell on the return for the Lions. Stays on his feet and is finally taken down at the 25. Ball came loose. Bears have it. Looked like Joe Anderson knocked it away from Joique Bell.
One of the things you have to understand as a returner is the contact can come from any direction, from the side, from behind. Joique Bell takes a huge hit from the outside, and that ball is out before he is down.
Anderson forced it. Eric Weems on the recovery. Remember, the Lions made a change from Stephon Logan, who made some questionable decisions on returns last week and a number of times earlier this season, moving Joique Bell into the role, and he hasn't knocked out by Anderson.
Now, it's been a team thing for Detroit all season long. It's not one phase. It's not one area of the team. You're talking about a team that's given up 10 return touchdowns during the course of the year. You know, 4 of those on special teams. There's another big special teams miscue right there.
So the Bears, with a 7-3 lead, get the ball right back on the Lions 24. Cutler fires to the end zone, and it's through the hands of Marshall. Louis Delmas may have gotten a piece of it.
Brandon Marshall, good release off the line of scrimmage. That's almost there. That's a heck of a throw by Jay Cutler. Again, Louis Delmas on a kind of a poor angle, Tony.
Yeah.
Poor on the touchdown pass to Earl Bennett, and kind of poor getting over there on this one.
Yeah, his angle should be in front of the runner or the receiver on that play. So when he catches the ball, he can go and swipe at it and get it out.
On 2nd and 10, it's Forte. Forte turning the corner and then gets knocked out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
We talked about the challenges in the running game with the offensive line being in flux all season long. And also, you know, you look at Matt Forte, he's been battling, you know, an ankle and foot issue, you know, during the course of the year. Happened 3 times to him, happened to him again last week against Arizona. He was questionable coming into this game, but he's looked well early on running the football.
And he hit 1,000 yards for the season on that carry. 3rd down and 2. Bears looking to capitalize on the Lions' turnover. It's Forte again. Our yellow line unofficial. It will depend on the spot.
Get an opportunity there to go and get that 1st down. Just get stopped by driving his legs.
So Forte stops short. Bears send out Olindo Mare and the field goal unit. Jason Hanson of the Lions earlier connected on a 44-yard attempt. Hanson, the oldest player in the league. Mare, who replaced Robbie Gould 3 weeks ago, is the 3rd oldest. Longtime Miami Dolphin, 33-yard attempt. Mare extends the Bears' lead to 7. Chicago scores 3 following the Detroit turnover on the return. Well, Lovie Smith's Bears started the season, Darrell, as you alluded to, 7-1, thanks in large part to their defense.
They were phenomenal. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. But, you know, when you're relying on that, you know, this is what can happen. You know, all of a sudden those turnovers stop happening and they're not getting the touchdowns. That's when that offense had to kind of pick up the slack and kind of carry this team a little bit. And that the inconsistency there and the changes in the offensive line impacted their ability. But again, last week against Arizona, you saw it again. You know, the offense gets off to a slow start. It's the defense, even without Brian Urlacher, that kind of jump starts the team. And, you know, it's a unique dynamic here in Chicago. A little bit of old school on how they play. But, you know, defense is always going to be important for a Chicago Bears team. And when this group is playing well, they're as good as anybody. And Rod Marinelli, I mean, this is not something, and you know, I kind of say you're counting on the other team to make a mistake. That's not the case with Chicago. I mean, it's taught. It's a belief that they're going to create turnovers and take the ball away and score from the opposition.
Lovie Smith says our defense is an offense. Bell will take a knee. Lions will start from the 20-yard line, trailing 10-3. So Stafford of the Lions offense back out on the field against the Bears defense. We've been talking about them. They've scored 9 touchdowns this season. One shy of a league record. Playing today for the 4th game without one of their leaders, Brian Urlacher. You saw him on the sideline without free safety Chris Conte. Lions start from the 20. It's LaShawn. And he is wrapped up by Amobi Okoye. Gain of just 1.
It's just tough to rush the football against this Bears defense. The only person we've seen have any success this year is Adrian Peterson, yep. Goose, and that's across the board for Adrian. But Rod Marinelli has done such a nice job, implementing this defense. They know it so well. They've been playing in it so long. You've got to be very, very efficient to move the ball consistently in the run game against Chicago.
Rod Marinelli, former Lions head coach for 3 seasons. Empty backfield as Stafford fires out to the 27-yard line. As the catch is made by Brandon Pettigrew. He was questionable, missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury.
And he's one of the reasons why, this offense hasn't been able to get on track. I mean, he is a huge target. The middle of the field is the new area that offenses attack, and Brandon Pettigrew is one of those tight ends who has the size and creates the matchup issue in the middle of the field for an offense to take advantage of.
Joique Bell in the backfield, 3rd down and 4. Lions must get to the 30. Stafford steps up, sidearm throw, and it's Mike Thomas, former Jaguar, who makes the catch and signals 1st down.
Nice pressure by the Bears. Stafford does a really nice job of moving in the pocket, getting open and finding a receiver downfield.
Working on the outside against Calvin Hayden.
Good coverage, too.
Saw 3 Bears surrounding Calvin Johnson.
Well, when he gets into the slot area, that's what Charles Tillman said. We're kind of concerned about the two-way go and what he could do. And he's like, no, I got my guys inside. I've got a lot of help coming from the inside.
1 minute remaining. 1st quarter, the toss to LaShawn. He's able to break a tackle. And is finally brought down by Shane McClellan. Picks up a 1st down. We check in again on the Giants and the Eagles with Kurt.
Yeah, maybe too little too late. We'll find out later on today. But the Giants are looking like defending Super Bowl champs. Eli Manning, first time in his career, he's got 3 first-quarter touchdown passes. That one, David Wilson, made it 21-0 right now as they lead the Eagles in a must-win and get help situation. Kenny Moose and Goose.
And a big part of that help involves this game, because if the Bears win, it does not matter what the Giants do, they would be eliminated. Giants need a win and losses by 3 teams, as LaShawn is bottled up by the combination of Geno Hayes and Stephen Paya. Loss of 2 on the play. As this 1st quarter winds down, Lions took a 3-0 lead. Then Cutler hit Bennett on a 60-yard touchdown pass. Talking about it with Brandon Marshall. And then the Bears scored 3 more following a Lions turnover. 10-3 Chicago after 1. We get set for the 2nd quarter. Bears lead 10-3. How about J.J. Watt approaching Michael Strahan's all-time record for sacks in one season?
Yeah, the last time they played the Colts, he had 3 sacks. So Michael Strahan might be getting a little bit nervous out in the studio.
Calvin Johnson, of course, has already set the record for receiving yards in a season. Adrian Peterson will play later on Fox against Green Bay. Stafford to the outside, and this is Sean Chappis, a fullback slash tight end, originally drafted by the Cowboys, and he comes up limping after gaining 6 yards.
Now that's tough, because Tony and I talked with Sam Gash before the game, the running back coach, and talked to them about having that traditional fullback in the backfield. He talked to us about Sean Chappis. It's his first opportunity there, and ends up hurting his ankle, looks like.
2nd career reception for Chappis. Penalty flags on 3rd down and 6.
All start. Number 35, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Joique Bell. Jim Schwartz, 4th season as Lions head coach. Lions won 10 games last season, made it to the playoffs for the first time since 1999, lost to the Saints down in New Orleans. But a disappointing 2012 season after a 4-4 start. Lions have lost their last 7. Lions must get to the Chicago 47 as Stafford fires downfield, intended for Johnson, and then nearly picked off by Anthony Walters.
He was surrounded by 8 guys there at the end. Did you see that, Darryl?
He draws some attention coming out of here again, out of that slot area. Trying to bend around that coverage that the Bears run. You know, he got it in there. It looks like it hit Calvin right in the chest. Bounced off.
Yeah, it did.
He's one of the top of the league guys when you talk about drop passes.
Terrific kick by Harris, forcing Hester back to the 9. There is a flag as Hester returns it 4 yards. Brought down by Pat Lee, a 49-yard punt. Bill Levy will sort things out.
During the kick, unsportsmanlike conduct number 10 of the kicking team, going out of bounds and not attempting to come back in a reasonable amount of time. 15-yard penalty will be tacked on to the end of the run. First down, timeout.
That's Kasim Osgood. Did not attempt to get back in bounds in a reasonable manner. 15-yard penalty. Fox Theater here in downtown Detroit. Bears lead the Lions 10-3. Following the penalty on the return, Chicago starting from their own 29-yard line, and Cutler connects with Matt Spaeth, only his 6th reception this season. Bears tight ends have the fewest catches as a group in the entire league.
Yeah, but one of the things I'm seeing right now from this Bears offense is the ball getting distributed to other people besides Brandon Marshall. We've had the big play by Earl Bennett on the touchdown, the big play to start the game by Alshon Jeffrey. So the other guys are stepping up. That's when this offense will start to hit a stride.
5 completions, Darryl, for Cutler. He's hit 5 different receivers. Marshall not one of the 5. Second down and 4. The toss to Hester on the end around. And Hester takes it out to the 38-yard line. Stopped a yard shy of the marker. So it will be 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, and it's been one of the things that Mike Tice has tried to sort through during the course of the year is how do I get Devin Hester involved offensively? And that's one of the areas right there, the end arounds, some different things they can do, you know, not just as a receiver, but as a runner with the football. He's so good in space. We've seen him on returns throughout his career.
Now Tice sends in Gabe Carimi as an extra blocker. 3rd down and 1. First carry today for Khalil Bell, and he picks up a first down. Michael Bush is on IR, and the Bears today are without Armando Allen, so it's Bell, who was a Bear earlier this season, was waived, signed with the Jets, back in Chicago.
That's a good short yardage run right there. It's a quick decision, square your shoulders, north-south.
Bell remains in. 1st and 10 from the 44. Early second quarter from Ford Field in Detroit. This is Bell once again. Bell running hard out to the 49-yard line. He picks up 5 more before he was brought down by Delmas.
We've talked about the injuries in the secondary for Detroit. There's one of the guys right there. You know, Louis Delmas missed 8 of the first 13 games with a knee, and they're a different team when he's not back there. We've seen a few poor angles by him today, though, Tony. So maybe some of that rush showing a little bit.
2nd down and 5. Play action. Cutler fires downfield. Looked like Marshall stops. He hesitated. And Don Carey on the coverage.
Even though they know each other really well, you know, you still have to have, you know, that real good sense between quarterback and receiver. Now, Chicago's, when they take a shot down the field, it's going to be off of movement, and it's going to be max protection. Now, you've got help over the top and help underneath here, and right now, you can see the indecision by Brandon Marshall at the top of that route. Jay Cutler's expecting one thing, Brandon Marshall is doing something else.
3rd down and 5. Cutler from the shotgun. Cutler's pass is caught by Jeffrey, and
Great individual effort.
Extends with Patrick Lee attempting to bring him down. Jeffrey looks to have a first. He does.
Alshon Jeffrey coming out of the slot. And he can make it easier on himself by getting the distance beyond the things. They have to throw it quick. Look at that. He's about 1.5 yards, 2 yards short. Pushed almost 4 yards short. But look at that effort to break the tackle. And then, as Tony said, right at the end, to kind of lay out and stretch that ball.
Terrific awareness by the rookie Jeffrey. Caught a 55-yard pass earlier. So a new set of downs for the Bears. Off the fake to Bell. Cutler escapes pressure and then fires it out of bounds. Cutler back on his feet. Time for another game break with Kurt.
And back to the Eagles and Giants. Michael Vick, his first start since Week 10 due to that concussion. His first touchdown pass since then as well. 7 yards to Jeremy Maclin. Cuts the score down to a 2-touchdown game. 21-7. Giants still in control of the second quarter.
All right, Kurt. Again, the defending Super Bowl champion Giants need a win, and losses by Dallas, Chicago, and Minnesota.
That's a lot of help.
A lot of help. Bears leading the Lions 10-3. Play clock at 2. And the Bears, with the play clock winding down, use their second timeout.
Chicago, their second charge timeout.
So it will be 2nd and 10 for Cutler and the Bears when we return. Bears lead 10-3. An update from Indianapolis. We are told J.J. Watt has had that half sack that was initially credited to him taken away.
It's amazing how much pull Michael Strahan has, huh? One little phone call.
So J.J. back to 20 and a half. Cutler on 2nd down short. Looking for Marshall. Ron Bartell on the coverage as Sue helps Jay Cutler back onto his feet.
Well, if Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall are out of sync, you'd think it would be bad news for the Bears. And you look at that, you know, three attempts, no completions yet. But look what the other guys have done. Look at the wide receivers. The other guys, 3 or 4 for 120 yards. Where's that been all season?
Coming into this game, Marshall had 89 more receptions than the next Bears wide receiver, Bennett. 89 more. With Marshall lined up in the backfield, Cutler steps away from pressure, throws. It's the first catch for Marshall, but not nearly enough. Gain of just 1.
I tell you what, he's pretty good in the pocket, sensing the pressure. This is just 4 guys coming, but watch him move through the pocket. Look how he moves forward. Eyes are always down the field. You mentioned it, Tony. He's a tough guy. He's a competitor.
He's got a great feel of who's coming through. He got that pressure right in his face from the defensive tackles. Slid out and found the receiver downfield.
And took another hit as he got rid of the football. Podlish punting from his own 45. Mike Thomas, his former teammate in Jacksonville. Fair catch is called for at the 13-yard line. Bears need a victory. Up by 7. Back in Detroit, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. Bears need a win and a Vikings loss. Vikings and Packers, America's game of the week, following the Bears and Lions.
No.
Lions start from their 13-yard line. This is LaShore, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Walters.
Number of plays is even.
Yeah, time of possession's pretty close.
Chicago, that big play by Earl Bennett, big difference right now.
Right. These teams both in the top 5 in time of possession this season. 2 tight end sets, second down at 11. Calvin Johnson has been held in check. 2 catches, 23 yards. Nice catch by the tight end, Will Heller. There is a flag. As Heller picks up a first down.
Holding, number 66 offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
It's coming back. Hold. Right guard, Stephen Peterman. Yes, you, Stephen.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't let these defensive linemen come through. He grabs his helmet right there on Melton.
I don't like that call, though, because it's a screen, and a lot of guys are taught to do. That's kind of a technique on a screenplay. As one of the linemen coming out in that element, you engage, and then you throw your guy to the ground.
Yeah, you
to get back out into the screen.
But not from the helmet, though.
But they called holding. They didn't call personal foul.
Yeah. What you got? What you got?
Second down at 17 following the penalty. Calvin Johnson, bottom of your screen, split wide to the right. Inside handoff to LaShore.
Man, LaShore I'm standing right behind. He had a huge hole. He decides to go take it inside. If you would have cut that to the outside, got a lot more yardage on that run. A bad read by him.
LaShore will head to the sidelines. Native of Champaign, Illinois, attended the University of Illinois. Lions leading rusher this season, now third. Lions must get to the 23-yard line for a first down. As Stafford fires in the area of Johnson.
How funny is it to see Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall out of sync, and Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson out of sync? Watch the little shoulder dip right here by Calvin Johnson to avoid the contact. For a big man, that's pretty impressive, but whether it's the depth of the route or the coverage that's forcing the high throws, we're seeing these two guys out of sync a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was expecting that ball at that time.
Top 2 receivers in the league this season, a combined 230 receptions coming into the game. Only 3 today. Punt hits down out of bounds. Lions keep it out of the hands of Devin Hester. Midway through the second quarter, Stafford and the Lions trailing by a touchdown. 10-3 Bears mid-second quarter.
Well, they've only got 1 sack on Jay Cutler this afternoon, but they're getting to him. They're getting some shots on him. And this is all from the last series. A rough series for him there, Goose.
Yeah, a lot of pressure right here. I like to hear it at the end. Check this out. Defensive lineman talk a little smack. Cutler ain't taking nothing. Got in my face. Gotta love that.
Perfect starting field position for the Bears as Forte found a hole and has a first down at the Lions 42.
There's a nice run, just that outside zone, get everybody running, and then let Matt Forte find where that running lane is. Going to be coming right at you. Evan Rodriguez on the lead. A nice job by Chris Spencer getting up to the linebacker level.
From the Lions' 42-yard line. Matt Forte cuts to the outside, back inside, has another Bears first down. 2 nice runs by Forte, first 11 and now 13.
Well, I think if you had a concern about what his health was with his ankles, I think that this run right here kind of makes you feel a little bit better. You know, that's hard to do with healthy ankles, let alone sore ankles.
My ankles hurt after watching it. Look at those plants, how he just moves his body.
3 tight ends set. As Cutler hands it off to Forte again. Not this time. Loses a yard. Kyle Vanden Bosch makes the tackle.
Yeah, good penetration on the backside. Matt Forte couldn't even get started to the play side. I mean, he had to plan and kind of jump cut backwards.
Second down and 11 for the Bears, who lead 10-3. Brandon Marshall held in check, just 1 reception, 1 yard. Empty backfield, Forte split wide to the left. Marshall now in motion. Cutler gets the ball into the hands of Marshall, and he will be tackled for a loss by DeAndre Levy. Loss of 2 yards on the play.
I didn't understand that play there, Moose. They bring him all the way across the formation where everybody else was. I mean, they had one more guy than they could have blocked over there.
You know what, Tony, though, if you're kind of seeing how they're going to react to it, that we might see that again later on, and then maybe the throw backside to Matt Forte, because he had Stephen Tulloch one-on-one.
Marshall shaken up, out of the game once again. Replaced by Hester, 3rd down and 13. Bears must get to the Lions 19 for a 1st down with Marshall on the sidelines. Over the top to Bennett. Tackled at the 26, so the Bears will send out the field goal unit with under 5 minutes remaining, 2nd quarter.
Go back and take a look at the end of that play, see if we can see what happened with Brandon Marshall. Hard to see right there.
It looks like he just planted real hard.
Yeah, how about that first one right there?
Yeah.
I think it's that one.
Well, here's Mare, hit from 33 earlier. This will be a 43-yard attempt. Podlish places it down, and Olindo Mare's kick is not even close. Wide to the right. His 2nd miss in 5 attempts as a Bear after he replaced the injured Robbie Gould. So the Bears' lead remains 7.
Yeah, he just didn't hit this one at all the way he wanted to. This is wide right, coming right off his foot.
Looks like his plant foot was way ahead of the ball.
Mare 1 for 2 today. Lions take over at their own 33-yard line. Joy Bell in the backfield. On 1st down, Stafford looking for Johnson. Guess who? Charles Tillman breaks it up.
He's unbelievable with his eyes on that ball, man. It's like glue. Watch Tillman right here. Head inside. He sees a short set. He broke on that ball like he was the receiver.
Told us yesterday loves playing against Calvin Johnson. He said, I'm a Calvin Johnson fan.
There's nothing better than competing against the best in the business. You've got there's your starting Pro Bowlers right there going at it one-on-one on the outside. It's going to be fun to watch.
Both Bears starting quarterbacks heading to the Pro Bowl. As Stafford has the ball knocked loose, and it's picked up by Julius Peppers.
You got to have a sense of when it's breaking down, and when it is, you've got to secure the ball. And watch Matthew Stafford in the pocket. This is starting to break down. Here comes Israel Adonijah right up the middle, and he's still got it up and away from his body, and he's a little bit late trying to get that secured.
Does a nice job of splitting that double team, Adonijah. Peppers heads up and seeing that ball on the ground.
So a sack, forced fumble for Adonijah. Peppers with the recovery, his 4th in the season. So the Bears take over on the Lions 10. 2nd Detroit turnover in this 1st half. Cutler fires, deflects away from Marshall.
And that one went right through Brandon Marshall's hands down. It's the 2nd time he had an unbelievable opportunity to go and make a play on the ball, but just doesn't get it done.
You know, he wasn't happy how he played last week at Arizona either. You know, you mentioned the fact that Jay Cutler said at this time of the year quarterback play becomes important. And I think that Brandon Marshall feels the one way you help that is playing well on the outside. He didn't play well last week, wasn't happy with how he performed last week, and he's off to a slow start again this week.
2nd and goal, it's Forte. Cuts to the outside. He's inside the 5 and wrestled out of bounds at the 4-yard line by Ron Bartell.
Last week it was kind of the game plan that really got him out of sync. Ended up with 6 catches for 68 yards, but in the beginning of that game, it was really the 2-minute drill at the end of the 1st half where they started to hit their stride. And it's happened again this week for Brandon Marshall with a slow start.
Split wide to the right, shaken up earlier. Third down and goal as Cutler throws. And again, looking for Marshall. There is a flag. Don Carey on the coverage.
Pass interference, number 32 defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Brandon Marshall on the outside. He's coming across. They're trying to free him on the release. And Don Carey just gets there a little bit too early. It's a good play design by formation and the movement back inside.
First and goal from the 1 as Forte walks it in for a Bears touchdown.
Got to compliment the offensive line in this. I'm not a big fan of pulling people down on the goal line, and you had a double pull. You had Matt Spaeth coming, and you also had, I think it was Chris Spencer pulling from the right guard spot. And you know, you're really rolling the dice down on the goal line in those situations. That's good execution by Chicago.
What a turn of events as Murray connects on the extra point. He missed the field goal attempt moments ago, but Idonije forces the turnover. And just 5 plays later, the Bears extend their lead.
And you just have to understand who your opponent is. I mean, Chicago is the best in the league right now at taking the football away. And when that play breaks down, Matthew Stafford has got to understand, number 1, ball security, get it tucked away. And again, there's that play. That's pretty good execution by Chicago. You know, pulling 2 people down on the goal line. Plays can really backfire on you if you've got that defensive line coming hard and forward when you're trying to pull an offensive lineman on the goal line.
And don't forget the pass interference call on Carey, which gave the Bears first and goal from the 1. And you mentioned it earlier, Darryl, one of the big differences when you look at the Lions' 10-win season of a year ago, just 4 wins this year. The turnover ratio, they were plus 11 last season, now minus 14 this year.
You can't be successful in the NFL with a negative turnover ratio, let alone a negative 14 turnover ratio. That's one of the things that Jim Schwartz is really, when he reflects back on what happened in 2012, there's going to be a number of things, but that's the biggest one right now. And this was a team that they were on the other side of that equation last year, Tony. Their defense was doing the same thing Chicago's doing this season, last year.
Every coach that we talked to, ball security is the number 1 priority. The difference in the majority of the games.
Lions will start from their own 20, 3.5 remaining second quarter. Bears now lead by 14. Cutler with a 60-yard touchdown pass to Earl Bennett. Stafford 6 of 12, only 2 completions to Calvin Johnson, and the key fumble on the sack by Idonije. Bears in with a win and a Vikings loss later today. A Chicago win would also eliminate the New York Giants. Lead the Eagles 28-7 after 2-minute warning to the second quarter as Joyke Bell takes it out to the 25-yard line for a gain of 5.
And sometimes during the course of the season, you hit that stretch where you have an opportunity to get things turned around, and Matthew Stafford told us that, you know, earlier in the season they had a 3-game homestand, and they lost a lot of heartbreaking games during the course of that, and you know, that really became, you know, the issue when you lose. They had the Packers, the Texans, and the Colts here at home, and lost all 3 of those games late in the game, and that just adds to the lack of confidence and the issues that are out there for your team.
Second down and 5. Stafford fires, and it's picked off. That's number 9. For the NFL's leader in interceptions, Tim Jennings. The 3rd Detroit Lions turnover.
Not really sure what happened here with the throw, but what I want to talk about is Tim Jennings, because here's a guy who last season, late in the year, was benched, and he wasn't sure if he was going to be back with the Chicago Bears. And Charles Tillman told us, you want to have a feel-good story this year? Tim Jennings is the epitome of work, and he worked his butt off the entire offseason, and he's a Pro Bowler this year. And, you know, I'd love to see guys that do that. You know, the coaches challenged him, hey, what can I do? How do I need to improve? They told him. He went out and worked at it the entire offseason.
Responding to a challenge. Yep.
And now Cutler firing deep. Once again looking for Brandon Marshall. There's Jennings celebrating his leading 9th interception this season. Headed to his first Pro Bowl.
How about that? You know, the coaches say, you know, what do I need to work at? What do I need to get better at? Well, your ball skills, you know, the point of the catch. Okay, and then you come out and you lead the league in interceptions the following year. I mean, it's an awesome story.
Being coachable, I guess, right?
Second and 10, it's Bell. And to talk about two starting quarterbacks from the same team, both going to the Pro Bowl, that hasn't happened since 1988 Cleveland Browns with Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon. The last time two starting quarterbacks from the same team went to the Pro Bowl. There's Tillman.
The one is making interceptions all season long, and 33, if you don't have that ball secured, he's punching it out. Two of the best in the business right there. They're fun to watch.
So the Bears defense once again coming up big. They forced 3 first-half turnovers. Well, Lovie Smith says every play is an opportunity to take the ball away. Bears lead the league in interceptions and takeaways. They're forced 3 Detroit turnovers in this first half. 3rd down and 9. Cutler throws, looking for Jeffrey. He makes the catch. No, then he lost it. Looked like he had it initially. Ron Bartell on the coverage.
He did have it initially, Kenny. Great effort right here.
Well, you got the 3-step process. Go up, possession, and you have to maintain possession all the way through the catch. Good position by Ron Bartell.
So here's Murray once again, a 40-yard attempt. Hit from 33, missed from 43. And this kick is good. So the Bears capitalize following all 3 Detroit turnovers, now lead by 17. What's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, we'll get you all caught up on the action and how it affects the playoff picture. Are the teams that need to win winning? Will the teams that need help get that help? We'll try and put the playoff picture into focus on the Visa Halftime.
Well, Kurt can do it all. Michael worried about J.J. Watt. Kurt operating the camera. And here in Detroit, Bears defense, once again, the story.
Classic Bears performance today. The defense is taking the ball away. Offense needs to take advantage of these. You know, if you got an opportunity to put your opponent away, you've really got to do that. And they've not taken advantage of the opportunities the defense has presented to them as well as they could have. But, you know, I always worry about Chicago from that perspective because you're waiting on your opposition to do things wrong when you talk about takeaways. But I asked Rod Marinelli about this one time, and they establish it with the culture of hustle. It's preached, it's worked on. They talk about stripping the football, angles and pursuits, and it's built in. They practice it during the course of the week. So, you know, he really changed my thinking that, hey, you know, we're not counting on the other team to make mistakes. We're forcing them into mistakes.
Bell takes a knee. Lions will start from the 20 with a minute 49 remaining in this first half. And the Bears leading by 17. Stafford and the Lions offense back out. Bears need a win to stay alive. And then we'll be cheering for the Green Bay Packers.
What do you get a sense of Detroit down there on the field, Tony?
I just don't think that they have any kind of rhythm. Offensively, they're looking a little bit sloppy. And defensively, you know, the difference that I see from Chicago's defense to the Lions' defense is I don't see the guys running to the ball for the Lions.
On the screen, Goose, is LaShore, games 9.
Tillman, nice job with leverage. I mean, can't do everything out there, right there. Even though he wants to.
You look at Tillman's numbers this season, incredible. He's returned all 3 of his picks for touchdowns, and he has forced 10 fumbles.
I've never seen anybody better at punching a ball out. It's amazing how uncanny he is at that.
Stafford sidearm throw on 2nd and 1. He sure wasn't ready for it.
Not at all ready for it. Little sidearm throw right there. Nice. Right here, he sees it.
Now, there was a lot of discussion this week about the mechanics of Matthew Stafford, and I think it's funny that, you know, we criticize, you know, trying to have that perfect form in the pocket. I mean, how many guys do we watch on Sunday afternoons? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has a unique way of throwing the football. There's so many different ways today, and a lot of times it's based on need, like you said, Tony, to find that window and be able to get that ball out. It's not going to be, you know, a prototypical throw from the pocket.
How about Brett Favre? How many times has he thrown the ball crazy, shuffle passes, and behind his back, all kinds of crazy things? It's all about getting it done. If you get it done, it doesn't matter how pretty it is.
Now the Lions take a timeout after the push by LaSure for a first down.
And we talked about Charles Tillman punching the ball out and doing all these other things, but as a cover guy, I mean, let's not forget how good he is just in coverage. This is outstanding right here. I mean, that's as good as it gets. The break on the ball and the slant route, the recognition, understanding where Calvin Johnson is in the formation and what route could come out of that.
You know, I have a lot of fun watching the offense, defensive lineman, Darryl, but I'll tell you what, I am really enjoying watching those two compete on the outside, Calvin Johnson and Tillman. I'll tell you.
You know the scary thing, Tony, too?
It's awesome.
As soon as you let up for a split second, he's going over the top for a big play. So to be able to maintain that focus for the entire 60 minutes of this game.
He set it down for the Lions from the 30. Stafford over the top to Bell. Joique Bell able to pick up another Lions first down. That was the 701st pass attempt by Stafford this season. He's the first quarterback in league history to throw as many as 700 passes in one season. Here's Pettigrew down to the 47. And the Lions with 56 seconds remaining will use their second timeout. Bledsoe, the prior record holder with 691 in the season. As we take you back to the Earl Bennett 60-yard catch and run for a Bears touchdown.
Yeah, you have a Chicago game and you expect it to be Brandon Marshall, but it's been the other guys today, and then you better know when you go up against the Bears defense, you've got to secure the football. They turned that turnover into a touchdown. And they've turned a couple others into field goals.
And Phil's position has been huge.
When you're taking the ball the way Chicago has this afternoon, you're going to tip it pretty good.
Bears have scored 13 points off the 3 Lion turnovers. 1 timeout remaining for Detroit. Stafford with a shovel pass, backhand shovel pass to Joique Bell, and the Lions will use their final timeout. Lions into Chicago Bears territory. There's Scott Linehan, the Lions offensive coordinator, former head coach of the Rams. Visa halftime report coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. Chuck Pagano returns to the Colts sidelines and a 28-7 lead for Eli Manning and the New York Giants, who need a Lions win today in order to stay alive.
You know, Darryl, we talked about earlier, Chuck Pagano. I mean, what a great story that is. I'm so happy to see that guy back. And, you know, early in the season when he said he's got a lot more to do in life, still walk his 2 daughters down the aisle. I mean, that really, you know, hit home for a lot of us fathers out there.
Yeah. Keep life in perspective. Football is a game.
That's right. Great to see him.
Terrific job by Bruce Arians in the absence of Pagano. as that pass is off the hands of Calvin Johnson.
You know, it's just one of those days right now for these guys, because this is one of the areas where I would like to see Matthew Stafford take the next step. A lot of times he wheels out the back end of this. Pressure, steps up, finds a big open running lane right here, and then delivers it downfield to Calvin Johnson. And, you know, hey, that's the best in the business right there. He's got to make that catch. And it has just not been the Lions' first half.
What you got? Ray!
On second down, Stafford to the outside for Scheffler. 8 of 7. Clock stops, 39 seconds remaining in the half. 3rd down and 3 upcoming.
You got to pay off this offensive line. You mentioned how many attempts Matthew Stafford has had during the course of the season. That puts a ton of stress on that offensive line. They've really held up well all season long. They do things offensively, throwing the ball as much as they have this season that you wouldn't expect. You talked about time of possession. I mean, it's kind of an extension of their running game.
3rd down and 3. Stafford over the middle. Couple of nice moves by LaSure. Picks up a Lions first down. Remember, Detroit out of timeouts. 13 yards from Stafford to LaSure. And now Stafford will clock it with 21 seconds.
I've watched him on film the last couple of weeks, and he's really starting to improve. Mikel LaSure is understanding the game. That's a nice little jump cut right there. The vision to pick up Lance Briggs coming in right away. But I've been impressed with him at the end of the runs. He's been very physical at the finish of his runs.
Only thing he's got to do is protect that ball a little bit better, especially against this defense out there.
Yeah, he never fumbled in college. He's had 3 this year. So it's something that every young running back goes through at the NFL level. I struggled with my rookie year.
11th play of the drive for the Lions, as Stafford had that pass tipped at the line. And it falls incomplete.
You got to be careful right now. Understanding, you know, Kenny mentioned they don't have any timeouts left. And we used to have a drill. You know, it's about, you know, they're right on that cusp of being able to get up and get that ball clocked to stop that clock. So Matthew Stafford's got to be very, very careful where he intends this throw to go.
Julius Peppers got up and got his hand on that one.
He really got up, man. He was, I don't know what his vertical is, but he was sky high.
Former basketball player in college at UNC. 3rd down and 10. Stafford to the end zone. Touchdown. Chris Durham.
I think this is something that, you know, you should be able to do when you've got Calvin Johnson. Chris Durham's on the outside. You should be able to work the other guys. You know, Tim Jennings didn't really challenge him on that release. And then you have to remember, you don't have Chris Conte back there. This is Anthony Walters, you know, getting his opportunity to play. So, you know, you can't play the exact same way you've played when you've had Chris Conte back there.
First NFL touchdown for Durham. He and Stafford teammates at the University of Georgia. Hansen connects on the point after. All kinds of injuries at the wide receiver position for the Lions without Nate Burleson, Titus Young, Ryan Broyles. Chris Durham, former Seattle Seahawk, steps up.
And it was one of the things that Matthew Stafford was very complimentary to the guys that have stepped up. You know, we talked about Calvin Johnson moving throughout the formation, and you forget that all these guys have to learn those other positions as well. So Mike Thomas and Brian Robisky and Chris Durham, if Calvin Johnson is going to move throughout the formation, then they also have to figure out all these different spots to play across the board. And, you know, they haven't been here very long. You know, you're talking, you know, just several weeks' time to really kind of learn the intricacies of this offense. So, you know, Matthew Stafford was very complimentary to the young wide receivers that have stepped up here late in the season.
Stafford, his 18th touchdown pass of the year, threw 41 last season. 12 seconds remaining, second quarter. Bears will get the ball first following halftime. Giants now lead the Eagles at the half, 35-7. 10-point lead for the Bears here in Detroit. Short kickoff taken at the 20-yard line by the up-back Kyle Adams. And he returns it out to the 35 with 7 seconds on the clock. We can't emphasize it enough. Jay Cutler and the Bears need to win this game and then must root for the Green Bay Packers to defeat the Minnesota Vikings. If those two scenarios hold, the Bears will make the playoffs as a wild card. Bears win would also eliminate the New York Giants. Bears will run out the clock. It's Forte. First half comes to an end with Chicago leading Detroit by 10. Lions turn the ball over 3 times. Adonijay the sack, Peppers the recovery. We will return to Detroit after these messages. Thanks very much, Kurt. Bears do need a win. They lead the Lions by 10.
If we lose, we are out!
We get set for the third quarter from Ford Field in Detroit. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Bears will get the ball first, leading by 10. Lions scored a late touchdown. Jay Cutler and the Bears have been able to capitalize on 3 Detroit turnovers. They've scored 13 points off those turnovers. Only 2 receptions for 23 yards for Calvin Johnson.
I mean, the difference in this football game are the turnovers, and Chicago taking advantage of that and getting some points. Charles Tillman, outstanding against Calvin Johnson in the first half, but another half to go. You got to finish the game. He's too explosive, but we talked about a couple of things for Chicago to do at the top. One of them was Charles Tillman. He's lived up to that billing, but the Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall combination, completely out of sync this afternoon, but the other guys around have stepped up. They talked about the big play by Earl Bennett. Alshon Jeffrey with a big catch to start the game.
Hansen kicks it off. Hester hesitates, now takes it out. And he'll be tackled inside the 5 by Kasim Osgood. What a play.
Well, that's just a player who's a little bit frustrated, trying to force something. And Devin Hester needed to stay in on this one. He was very indecisive at the beginning, and when you do that, nothing good is going to happen. Kasim Osgood, it's a battle within the battle. You've got the best returner, maybe in the history of the NFL, against one of the best cover guys in the game right now, and Kasim Osgood is winning that battle against Devin Hester.
Yeah, once you hesitate like Devin Hester did right there, you just got to take a knee, get on the 20, give your offense at least an opportunity.
Hester, as we mentioned, no return touchdowns this season. Final regular season game. Bears need a win to stay alive. Cutler to the outside on first down. The catch is made by Jeffrey out of the 13-yard line for a gain of 8. Bears started the game with Cutler hitting Jeffrey on a 55-yard pass play, and then Cutler with a 60-yard touchdown pass to Earl Bennett. Cutler 8 of 15 in the first half. Bears lead by 10. Second down and 2. Cutler with time. He throws it. It's Jeffrey again for a Chicago first down.
Yeah, I talked to Jim Schwartz going in, and he talked about the turnovers like Darryl talked about, but the one thing he was happy about was his defense and the way that they're keeping him in this game. The turnovers are huge, but the defense is not giving up those 7 points, or else they would have been out of this game. I think they've kept them in the game with only giving up 3, so we'll see what happens here in the second half.
The Strikers, they held Chicago to field goals following 2 of the turnovers, and when you look at the average field position from a Lions standpoint, it could have been a lot worse. taken out to the 29-yard line by Forte. And we also heard the guys in the studio talking about some of the fourth quarter exploits of Matthew Stafford through the touchdown pass right at the end of the second quarter, so this game's not over.
Yeah, I thought that Howie Long made a great point. And when you've got Calvin Johnson outside and you've got an aggressive quarterback like Matthew Stafford, he's not going to take his foot off the gas. He's going to keep pressing that ball down the field, even though there's been some mistakes in the first half. In Chicago, this is what they do. Offensively, it's nothing flashy. They were happy with how they played last week against Arizona. A lot of offenses would be frustrated with how they played against Arizona last week. But their approach is, we ran the ball effectively. We didn't make any major mistakes. We didn't turn the ball over, put our defense in a bad spot. I think for them to get to the next level, like Jimmy Johnson said, if they get into the playoffs, what are they really going to do? If they're going to make any noise in the playoff, this offense has to become more aggressive. I agree with them. If they get in continuing to play this way, the defenses in the playoffs are too good. They will take Brandon Marshall away.
Butler on first down, steps up and takes off. Butler picks up a first down, out of bounds. Up at the 46-yard line, he gains 12.
I think he's underrated as a quarterback on the move. We've seen a couple of times his great pocket feel as he slides and steps up. And this one, just a really nice, quick decision right here when he sees that there's a lot of open space out there. Just pull it down and get as much as you can.
I think his offensive line is doing a good job, too, today, Darryl. Opening up, sliding, making big openings for him to go and look downfield and slide around. So, something that was a big question mark going into this game.
From the 46 on first down, it's Forte. Tries to cut it back towards the inside, and he gets wrapped up by Don Carey. Loss of 2 on the play. We talked to Lovie Smith yesterday and asked him about the plan if the Bears do in fact win this game. Will you stick around and watch the Packers and the Vikings? He said, nope, we'll head to the airport as we usually do, take off for Chicago and find out the score from the pilot. They don't have television on the plane, no internet access. They will get updates, and they'll be rooting for the Green Bay Packers. First, the Bears must win this game. They set up the screen, and a nice tackle made on Forte by Stephen Tulloch.
Great awareness by Stephen Tulloch. The offensive line does a nice job of setting the screen up right over the middle. Tulloch keeps his eyes. Open field tackle right here on Forte. Down low, not tackling high like we've seen over the last couple weeks with a lot of defenses. Takes his legs out, and that's exactly how you're supposed to wrap it up. Nice seeing a guy with fundamentals. Huh, Darryl? Breath of fresh air.
Yeah, actually tackled through the guy instead of to the guy.
Textbook.
Now third down and 10. Bears must get to the Lions 44. Butler moving to his right. He throws too far for Jeffrey. And then some extracurricular activity.
Part of that may be just trying to get Jay Cutler rattled a little bit, get him off of his game. But Alshon Jeffrey right here again. We kind of gearing down. Don Carey's got to be careful. The way the game is changing right now, you don't want to play good defense and then have a penalty, give the opposition the first down.
Adam Podlish waiting back at his 33-yard line. Mike Thomas deep for the Lions. Thomas lets it go, and it bounces into the end zone. So the Lions will start at the 20, trailing by 10. Cutler surrounded by Lions. Some of the displays at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn. We had a great visit yesterday.
Awesome.
Stafford rolling right on first down. As we welcome a new audience, Matthew Stafford picking up 5 on first down. We are early third quarter. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa in Detroit. Chicago Bears need a win to stay alive. Bears must win and then root for the Green Bay Packers to defeat the Minnesota Vikings. A Bears win would also knock out the New York Giants, who lead Philadelphia 35-7. On 2nd and 5, this is Michael LaSure, and he picks up a Lions first down out to the 34.
And he's been running like that all afternoon. Again, I like the way he finishes his runs. He's very physical.
Yeah, as soon as he finds that little space up front, he goes and hits it vertical, squared shoulders, lowers his shoulder a little bit, gets as much yardage as he possibly can. It's a nice hit right there at the end. And securing the ball.
Sure, running well. It's been a quiet day for Calvin Johnson in pursuit of 2,000 receiving yards. He'll be the first to do it in league history. This is LaSure once again. And LaSure has another Lions first down out to the 48-yard line. A gain of 13. It comes up hobbling.
And not just Calvin Johnson today, but Brandon Marshall on the other side, the Chicago Bears, a big part of their offense as well. And look at the job that both of these defenses have done. Calvin Johnson, now that's a lot of Charles Tillman. He's kind of pulling him in that situation and a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah, but Calvin Johnson did have some opportunities. The ball right in his hands, did drop 3 of them.
Yeah, good point, Tony. He's had some big drops today.
Stafford fires on first down. It's Johnson. His 3rd reception. It's a first down, a gain of 18.
And this is one of the things that Charles Tillman told us he would have to do. He never wants to allow Calvin Johnson to get beyond him, even with help over the top, because he's so long. A little slip there coming out of the break, but you can see Major Wright's there. He has help over the top, but he said Calvin is just so athletic and he's got such a great wingspan that if he's even with you, he's got you beat. So we've seen Charles Tillman keep him in front of him all afternoon.
Calvin Johnson now 67 yards away from 2,000. Vance Briggs unable to bring down Joy Bell. Bell takes it to the 34-yard line. Gain of just 1. Midway through the 3rd quarter here in Detroit. Lions, a playoff team a season ago. Just 4 wins this year. They've lost 7 straight. Bears, who started 7-1. Darrell, you mentioned it in the open. Team that starts the season 7-1 has not missed the playoffs since the Redskins back in '96.
Coming over there.
2nd down and 9. As Stafford throws to a wide open Johnson. It's another Lions first down at the Chicago 10-yard line. 24-yard pass play.
Yeah, a lot of times you wait for the opportunities to be one-on-one in coverage, but today it looks like Calvin Johnson's looking for the opportunities to catch zone because Charles Tillman has played so well against him. That's a well-thrown ball by Matthew Stafford.
Johnson now 43 yards away. Cannot do it on this drive. First trip into the red zone for the Detroit Lions today. Thomas motions into the backfield. And then Stafford's pass incomplete. He was looking for Thomas.
I don't like that type of play call in this situation. You've gotten into the red zone. You know, you finished your first half with a scoring drive. Here you are to start the second half, an opportunity to get another scoring drive. Just stay to what you do well. And that play never really looked good from the get-go.
Yeah, I think his timing was off on his motion across because he was way too close to throw that pass.
Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinators for the Lions, right, might have been overthinking that one a little bit.
Watch it, guys.
2nd and goal from the 10. Stafford throws, and it's broken up. It's headed for Johnson. Charles Tillman, again, does a terrific job for the Bears.
It's been fun to watch all day long.
It's been awesome.
I mean, again, understanding where you are on the field, you're in the red zone, you're on the outside, you're split wide as a receiver, so what routes can come out of that? And Charles Tillman has done a really nice job pre-snap processing everything, and the officials have let these guys play. I think they're enjoying the battle outside, too, because it's been physical on the outside between Calvin Johnson and Charles Tillman.
Now 3rd and goal. 3 wide receivers set. Stafford fires. End zone. It's Will Heller for a Lions touchdown.
coming out of your tight end spot. This is a good job. The underneath route, he has the back coming out of the backfield, draws up the linebacker, and opens up Will Heller at that intermediate level.
Only thing he has to work on that play is the dance afterwards. He did a lot of time to set it up.
Well, Goose, he hasn't had a chance to do it since the 2010 season, his first touchdown in 2 years.
A little rusty on the dance.
Hansen, the extra point. Lions pull to within 3. What would you call this, Goose?
I don't know. It's sort of a
broken sprinkler, Goose. It's a broken sprinkler.
There's Will Heller thinking about his next touchdown celebration. 9-play, 80-yard drive. So the Lions score a touchdown on their last drive of the first half and their opening drive of the second half to pull to within 3.
This is a huge series for the Chicago offense. You know, we've talked about it all season long. They've been opportunistic. They got 13 points off turnovers in the first half, but as Tony mentioned, you know, Jim Schwartz said, you know, that kept us in the
Their lead cut to just 3. 3-point game in Detroit. Bears led by 17 late in the second quarter. Lions have come back with a pair of touchdowns. Chicago in need of a win today to stay alive as Forte finds a big hole and has a Bears first down. Tyrell Johnson made the tackle, a gain of 12. The NFC playoff picture, Bears need a win and a Vikings loss. As far as the Giants are concerned, they lead Philadelphia 35-7, but if the Bears win, the Giants are done.
We've got some big games coming up in the later part of the day, too. The San Francisco and the Seattle games when they play. Obviously, the one that the Bears are interested in, that Green Bay-Minnesota game.
Green Bay will earn the 2 seed and a bye with a win. This is Marshall, only a second catch. They took one away at halftime, changed it to a run. So Marshall now with 2 receptions. Call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile for only $5 all month long. Second down and 7. Second down, the quick out to Bennett. And Bennett takes it up to the 46-yard line, gain of 6. So a big third down. Third down and 1 upcoming for Chicago.
We talked about how important this series was for the Chicago offense as they came onto the field. This is a conversion you've got to keep these drives alive. Mike Tice has got to find out something that has been working during the course of the day, or Jay Cutler has a lot of confidences on this snap.
Gabe Carimi in as an extra blocker. On 3rd and 1, it is Forte, and he will not get there. Lawrence Jackson with the penetration for the Lions.
Actually, Khalil Belkenny, he was the short yardage guy in the first half and made a nice run, very decisive in his run. This time, it's just penetration by that Detroit Lion front.
Or you bring Karimi in and you're telegraphing exactly what you're going to do. Those guys up front do a great job of holding up that whole Bears offensive line. There's no push at all, and there's nowhere to go.
Big play by Jackson, forcing the punt. With Thomas back deep for the Lions. Oh, terrific play by Eric Weems on special teams. Back-to-back touchdown drives by the Detroit Lions offense.
That's impressive, and that's the point that Howie made at halftime. You know, they're with Kelvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford out there, and Mikel LeSure is running very, very hard today. There's some explosive components out there in this offense. You cannot go to sleep on the Lions.
Worst starting field position of the day for Detroit as LeSure takes it out to the 12-yard line for a gain of 4. This field position set up by the Eric Weems play on special teams.
One of those things that goes unrecognized during the course of the game, but we look at starting field position a lot, and Eric Weems, that open field tackle, that's a huge part.
You got Riley Reef in there, offensive tackle as an extra blocker. Top of your screen right there.
First round pick out of Iowa. Riley Reef. Now second down and 6. And LaShore unable to take the handoff from Stafford, and it's recovered by Major Wright. The 4th Lions turnover.
I thought it was going to bounce back to Michael LaShore. It looked as though he was going to have an opportunity to recover that. But again, it's that culture of hustle that Rod Marinelli promotes. It's a bad QB handoff exchange. He's got his inside arm up, which is incorrect for all you young guys out there. It hits him in the chest, which makes it more difficult. Opportunities to get the ball back, but again, Rod Marinelli preaches this. No, he had the right arm up. So I'm sorry, Michael. He preaches everybody running to the football, and good things happen when you run it. Look at that. That ball was on the ground for a while until Major Wright got there.
A huge break for the Bears as Wright comes up with the recovery. 4th time the Bears start a drive from inside the Lions 25. And Cutler is taken down back at the 18-yard line. Kyle Vanden Bosch along with Ndamukong Suh.
Well, they've done it twice today, Tony. They've given up the ball on the 23 and the 24-yard line, and this defense has been able to hold them to field goals. Can they do it again here?
Well, I'll tell you what, that pocket collapsed immediately. Suh right in the middle. Nice job, Vanden Bosch, and a little bit of a twist on the outside. They've done a great job of responding to these turnovers in today's game.
Remember, the Bears held to 3 following 2 of the prior turnovers. Cutler to Bennett. Bennett out of bounds just shy of the 10.
We've seen him be able to do it twice, Tony. They're trying to do it again here. But one of the things that I thought was really not talked about a lot about your 2000 Raven defense was your ability in sudden change. And you guys, a lot of times on turnovers, didn't even allow points. What's the mindset?
You know what? You just got to, it's a sense of urgency. You got to go out there. You got to feel the pressure. You got to know that you guys got to play all together, and you got to play as best as you possibly can and not give them an inch.
4th down and 8. Cutler throws, end zone, Marshall, incomplete.
This is a good job at the start, understanding to funnel him to the sideline. Ron Bartell funnel him down hard to the sideline. That way, when you have to elevate to get the catch, it's going to be hard for you to complete the process because you're not going to be able to get both feet down. So a good job by Ron Bartell using that sideline as one of his teammates.
So here is Olindo Mare. 28-yard attempt. He's 2 for 3 today. From the right hash. Conless places it down. And Mare's kick is straight through, but for the 3rd time after a Detroit turnover, the Bears are held to 3 and not 7. This Friday, one of the best ball games of the year will be on Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against number 11 Oklahoma. It's the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, Friday, 7:30 Eastern, right here on Fox.
There's Sam Gash working with
right
Michael LaShore right there. And, at first, Tony, I thought he did have the inside arm the wrong way, but when we saw the replay, he didn't. And I think it might have been more on the quarterback there.
Yeah, it looked like it was a high handoff that hit him in the chest. And, Sam Gash, the running back coach there for Detroit, had an opportunity to play with him. I mean, you want to talk about a man on the field. That guy is a beast right there.
Yeah, but he knows the importance. Yeah, I mean, you just can't have him.
No, you can't have him.
It's been unbelievable today. The Detroit Lions have put their defense in a really tough spot, yet they've been able to respond. I mean, great field position after these turnovers, but only 16 points.
Yeah, they've really responded. You're absolutely right, Bruce. I'll tell you, Opportunity for the Chicago Bears to really go and close this game out. They just can't do it because of Detroit's defense and the way that they're not giving up those big plays. They're giving up 3 points on in an area where you should be getting 7s.
So the deficit is just 6 for the Lions as Stafford hits LaShore and Anthony Walters comes up, makes the tackle for a loss of 2.
He got outside his screen element. Your offensive linemen are the guys you need to have with you on these screen passes, and Michael LaShore got outside of that, and that allowed Anthony Walters to come up and make that tackle. So it's one of those things that you got to do time and time again to get comfortable and get that timing down. But the one thing you have to know is you can never get outside your offensive lineman on that screen.
2nd down and 12. We approach 1 minute remaining, 3rd quarter here in Detroit.
Squeeze!
Stafford to Johnson. Calvin Johnson out to the 25-yard line for a gain of 7. Now has 72 yards today, 36 shy of 2,000.
He's closing in, Darryl. But he's amazing.
He's doing it the way Charles Tillman said. He goes, listen, I have a lot of respect for him. If he does that, that's fantastic. But he is not getting an explosive play on me.
Charles
He's going to have to catch 20 balls.
Absolutely.
Longest reception today. That's 24 yards. 3rd down and 5. Stafford looking. Stafford throws, was deflected and nearly intercepted by Tillman.
Well, he's lucky this was deflected, because if he's going to throw this on time, it will be intercepted. I mean, it's great coverage, again, by Charles Tillman, and he's got Lance Briggs on the inside. I think if that ball's not deflected, Lance Briggs has got a pick 6.
Corey Wooten getting a piece of it.
You saw Matthew Stafford's eyes on that last replay that we did. Those defensive backs are looking to see where he's looking, and they all know that he's looking at one guy right now, and that's the man who can get 2,000, Calvin Johnson.
There was tremendous pressure on the punter, Harris, by J.T. Thomas. Only a 36-yard punt, and this will give the Bears terrific field position once again, although not as good as they've had following the turnover.
I still don't know how J.T. Thomas missed that block. He had a great move at the line of scrimmage to get free.
America's Game of the Week coming up. Many of you will see the Packers and the Vikings, as well as the 49ers and Cardinals, Seahawks and Rams battle for the NFC West, battle for the number 2 seed and the bye. Packers will have a week off. They beat Minnesota today. Butler on the slant. It's Marshall. Marshall out to the 48-yard line. Gain of 9. That's his longest reception today. As the 3rd quarter comes to an end, we head to the 4th. Bears need a win to stay alive. Leading the Lions by 6. Bears had a 17-point lead late in the 2nd quarter. Led by 10 at the half. It's now a 6-point game. Chicago needs a win and a Minnesota loss to Green Bay. And the Bears would head to the postseason. Second down and 1. As we start the 4th quarter, it's Forte. Forte across midfield into Lions territory. Picks up a Bears 1st down.
I thought I had a solution to that dilemma, Kenny. It would be hard for me to cheer for the Eagles or the Redskins in a situation that Chicago finds himself in where they would have to cheer for Green Bay. So I said, why don't you just cheer against Minnesota?
That's right.
That way you can still have that.
There you go.
That fuel of the rivalry. You don't have to be on the Packer bandwagon if you're a Bears fan.
Congratulate, don't hate.
There's Forte. Definitely a bizarre world when the Bears have to root for the Packers and the Giants could potentially have to root for the Washington Redskins later tonight, depending on what happens in this game.
It's a tangled web we weave, Kenny.
Final day of the regular season in the National Football League. Bears a 7-3 start last year. Cutler injured. Bears lost 5 of the last 6, missed the playoffs. 7-1 start this year. Hope to win and then need some help. 2nd and 5. Bennett! What a catch by Earl Bennett. 27 yards.
Well, he has really stepped up today. That is a nice catch because, again, tight coverage by Chris Houston, one-on-one at the top of the screen. Watch the footwork, back shoulder, both feet down. Well done.
Nice job keeping that left foot in. Wow.
Urbana with a couple of huge plays today. 60-yard touchdown back in the first quarter. From the 16, it's Forte. Gains 2.
Yeah, if you were to see the numbers that Brandon Marshall has today, you would think the Bears would be in trouble. I mean, look at this. 3 out of 9 for only 13 yards over there. But look what the other guys have done. Only twice this season has Brandon Marshall not led the team in receiving yards. And on the biggest game of the season for the Chicago Bears, Earl Bennett has stepped up. Alshon Jeffrey has stepped up. The running backs have done a nice job in the screen game.
Cutler on his last completion went over 3,000 yards for the season. 2nd down and 8. Cutler backpedaling, moving to his left. Now throws to the end zone. Kellen Davis tried to make the catch, and then Khalil Bell had a shot at it as well.
You know, they're really lucky that they got this ball off. Jay Cutler was audible and off, making some kind of a call outside, and the ball is snapped to him. Good thing he looks back to his left and catches that ball.
And Kellen Davis, he's such a physical specimen. He's got to be able to make that play. That is such a huge advantage for him with his height over Stephen Tulloch. He's got to be able to come down with that football.
Bears still in their huddle. Play clock is winding down. And Chicago forced to use a timeout.
That's the 3rd time this afternoon that they've had to use a timeout because of the communication in from the sideline to the huddle.
I couldn't agree with you more with Kellen Davis. That ball is totally catchable in the end zone. I mean, he's tall, he's big, he's strong. He's got to make that play.
And you know he's working at it, Tony. You know, the big thing is you know that after practice, before practice, he's catching footballs. I watched him before the game today catch a number of footballs. The one thing that I think that he has to overcome right now, he's worrying about dropping the football instead of expecting to catch the football. Yep. And that's a big transition in your thought process.
Yep.
Davis returning to his home state, attended Michigan State. Big opportunity in the end zone moments ago.
He should be a matchup nightmare in the red zone with Brandon Marshall on the outside and his size and his athletic ability from the tight end spot. Man, he's got to get it figured out. He'll be a huge asset for this offense.
3rd down and 8. Cutler from the shotgun. On 3rd down, he throws to Marshall, who picks up a 1st down. He lost his left cleat. But Marshall gains 10 and picks up a huge Bears 1st down.
That's what happens when you cut so hard on that turf. Watch Brandon Marshall up here at the top of your screen. Right after he catches the ball, boom. Tell you what, his feet are going so fast, Moose, that it came right out of his shoe.
4th catch today for Marshall, now has 117 on the season. 1st and goal from the 4. And Cutler has that pass batted back, and then he knocks it down. Smart play by Cutler. If he caught it, would have lost yardage. Willie Young with the initial bat back. There's Young.
That's scary when that ball pops up that high.
Yeah, Jay does a nice job with the volleyball spike right there. Good wind up, hits the ball good, gets it down on the ground, go to the next play. Your hands up front is so big.
2nd and goal. At Forte. Brought down by Andre Fluellen. at the 3-yard line.
Well, DeAndre Levy made a good play because it looked like they were going to have that edge sealed, and Matt Forte was going to be able to just kind of cruise into the end zone, but he fought through the block and turned him back to the inside.
Bears leading by 6. 3rd and goal from just inside the 3. 10th play of the drive for Chicago. Cutler looking end zone. He throws, and it's Chris Houston on the coverage. Pass intended for Marshall.
Yeah, they've really let him play on both sides of the ball. We've watched Charles Tillman and Calvin Johnson battle. Chris Houston and Brandon Marshall have battled. Coming from the outside. Again, we've seen this play a couple of times. That's good on both sides. Brandon Marshall's looking for a call, but he was pretty strong stiff arm there as he had his release as well.
So here's Olindo Mare once again. He's 3 for 4 today. This will be a 20-yard attempt from the left hash. Mare connects on the chip shot. And the Bears extend their lead to 9. Lions defense once again keeping Chicago out of the end zone. Another look inside the Henry Ford Museum in nearby Dearborn. 11-play, 59-yard drive for the Bears, who now lead the Lions by 9. Chicago must win. They have a chance at a postseason berth. They would then need the Vikings to lose their game against the Green Bay Packers. That's coming up next on America's Game of the Week. Just under 11 minutes remaining. This rivalry dates all the way back to 1930. Matt Forte getting his left ankle wrapped, with the Lions starting from their own 20, trailing the Bears by 9. Stafford on first down, complete to the tight end Scheffler for a gain of 8.
Then the complimentary guys this afternoon on both sides of the ball stepping up, making some plays.
Well, I think the run game has really helped this offense because that play action, those linebackers are really responding to that coming up, and it's giving them an extra second as the wide receivers and the tight ends go out for a route. So
2nd down and 2. LaSure in the backfield, 3 receivers set. Side handoff to LaSure. There's a flag. Lance Briggs in on the tackle. Not many flags today. Bill Levy.
Holding, number 76 offense. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Left tackle Jeff Backus, penalty declined.
yeah, a little bit of a blitz going on the outside. Here he is coming in from the right-hand side.
Put down the Pro Bowler Henry Melton. Giants now lead Philadelphia 42-7, under 7 minutes to play at the Meadowlands. Giants would stay alive for the moment, cutting the outcome of this game. It's Scheffler once again for Lions first down.
A nice catch right there, huh?
It really was. It's on the back shoulder. That's a big play right there. And a little bit of confusion right now in some of the coverage for the Chicago Bears. Kelvin Hayden on that play looking for answers in the coverage. And, you know, talking to Charles Tillman yesterday, it was interesting to see how their coverages are balanced when you talk about the Bears defense. Sometimes he's working with a linebacker, sometimes he's working in conjunction with a safety. So on that one there looked to be a little bit of confusion.
New set of downs for Detroit. 9 minutes remaining, fourth quarter. Stafford's pass intended for Pettigrew.
And he's not 100%. He's not even close to 100% with that high ankle sprain. But, you know, Jim Schwartz said it would be important if we could get Brandon Pettigrew on the field just for the guys to see how important it is to go out there and compete. But you can watch here, you know, he doesn't have a whole lot of push off of that bad leg. And Matthew wants him to get out quick. I just don't think he can run those routes right now. But you know, Jim Schwartz was hoping that from an inspirational standpoint, that Brandon Pettigrew being out here today would kind of show his guys what it takes to be a professional.
He's their second leading receiver after Calvin Johnson. Second down at 10. And Stafford has that pass batted back by Lance Briggs.
So many times you see these linebackers walked up in the middle, Tony. A lot of times they're pulling out. This time he didn't.
Yeah. Lance Briggs does a nice job of getting his hands up, keeping coming with the pressure right in Stafford's face right there.
Strange to see Pro Bowl rosters without Urlacher and Briggs on them. Bears will send 5. Urlacher's gone to the last 8 Pro Bowls. Briggs the last 7. Still very important. Cogs of this Bears defense. Third down and 10. Stafford moving to his right. Stafford now slides down at the 36. And there is a flag for a late hit. He was down about 6 yards shy of the marker.
Foul, necessary roughness, number 55 of the defense going to the head of the sliding quarterback. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So instead of a Lions punt, it's a first down as Briggs is flagged.
And I know a lot of people, the Bears fans are going to be upset. He's declared himself out. You just can't go to the head. You got both of them. You're right, Tony. It was Lance Briggs and Calvin Hayden both going.
Only the second Bears penalty, but it's a big one. Keeps this drive alive with 8.5 to play. Nine-point Chicago lead. From the Bears 49 on first down. Stafford throws, and the pass is caught by Brian Robisky. His first reception today. It's a 22-yard pass play.
And zone defense against one more time there, Darryl. Stafford does a nice job with a little bit of short pump, and then giving Robisky a little bit of time to go and get in that little bit of a zone area where it's wide open. Makes a nice throw.
Robisky's dad, wide receivers coach in Atlanta, Terry Robisky. He's the 10th different target that Stafford has connected with today.
Squeeze. Lucky.
From the Bears 28. Stafford over the middle, wide open for a first down and more. It's Will Heller takes it down to the Bears 9-yard line.
This is such a nice decision by Matthew Stafford because you've got Calvin Johnson going down the middle of the field with an opportunity for the big play. Just the opportunity, but it's going to be Will Heller that leaks out late that gives you the nice, easy one. Look at, there's nobody around him right there. The temptation was there to take a shot towards the end zone with Calvin Johnson in a one-on-one situation, but that was a nice decision to drop it down for an easy play.
First and goal from the Bears 9. This drive kept alive by the Briggs penalty. Stafford on first down to the end zone. There is a flag. It's a catch and a touchdown. Brian Robisky.
Touchdown is ruled. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Helmet hit, number 21. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Again, this is the defenseless player categorization. Going to be Brian Robisky. He's got to be able to catch, plant, and make a move to defend himself, a move common to the game. You can see Major Wright come in. It really puts safeties in a dilemma. It's really opened up the middle of the field for offenses to be able to attack because you've always got the potential of that 15-yard penalty now as part of the mix.
It'll be assessed on the kickoff. Hansen pulls the Lions to within 2. Stafford, third touchdown pass today. What a game here in Detroit. Bears led by 17. It's now a 2-point game as the Lions drive 80 yards for the third time in their last 5 possessions.
Jason Hansen's like 17 yards away from the ball right now.
Kicking off from midfield following that personal foul. Brian Rafisky, his first touchdown in 2 seasons, pulling the Lions to within 2. Back in Detroit, just under 7 minutes remaining. 2-point lead for the Chicago Bears, who need a victory to stay alive. They led by as many as 17 late in the second quarter. Bears start from their own 20-yard line as Cutler throws, and it's Brandon Marshall who makes the catch out of the 39 for a gain of 19.
Again, we showed you a graphic on Jay Cutler early in the game, how he gets better and better, and his best numbers are here in the fourth quarter and on a very critical drive, the opening play. There's that chemistry between he and Brandon Marshall that has not been there all afternoon.
5th catch for Marshall. First and 10 from the 39-yard line. As Cutler hands it off to Forte, and he gains 3 out to the 44. America's Game of the Week coming up. Many of you will see the Packers and the Vikings. If the Bears win, they need a Vikings loss. Vikings hosting Green Bay. Some of you will see an NFC West matchup. Niners and the Cardinals, Seahawks, and the Rams with division crown at stake. Number 2 seed up in the air of the NFC as well. On 2nd and 5, it's Forte once again. Ball comes loose, and the Bears able to recover. And then Vanden Bosch gets involved at the end of the play with Roberto Garza.
I'm just shocked that we're at the position we're at right now. If you were to tell me, hey, we're going to be, halfway through the fourth quarter, Calvin Johnson's going to have less than 80 yards. The Bears are going to have a +4 turnover ratio. What do you think the score is going to be? I would never have thought it would be inside a field goal.
Lions defense has come up big, holding the Bears to field goals and not touchdowns. 3rd down and 4. Bears must get to the 49 as Cutler floats it up for Marshall. He did not make the catch in bounds. So with 4:47 remaining, the Bears will punt it back to the Lions.
You're talking about 3rd and 4, and we're going to end up throwing a go route. And we've seen the play that's been effective for the Bears, whether it was the red zone or in the field, has been that slant to Brandon Marshall in these situations. That's just a tough throw and catch for any quarterback receiver combo to make.
Bodlish punting from his own 35. Moving to his left, it's Thomas. Fair catch. Back of the 10-yard line.
With all those turnovers, Dow, we talked about the Lions defense and how they kept their team in this game. But, let's look at Chicago's offense. I mean, talk about opportunities that they haven't capitalized. Jimmy talked about it during the halftime break, but, this team's going into the playoffs. When, you look at this team right now, they are not dominant at all and haven't capitalized on any kind of turnover. Opportunity-wise, I don't see it. I don't see what they can possibly do in the postseason if they do get in.
Yeah, I think they're playing so guarded because of the situation with their offensive line that, it really impacts what they can call from a play standpoint offensively.
It seems like they have no confidence offensively in anything that they do.
All right, here we go. Lions start from the 9, trailing by 2. Stafford, a sidearm fling, is behind Calvin Johnson.
But here's the thing about this team, Tony. This is the group that's on the field right now that drives this team. And that's the way it's been in Chicago for as long as I can remember. And you go back and you think about the teams that were in the championship games last year. Lovie Smith talked to us about this yesterday. 2 of those 4 teams, San Francisco and Baltimore, built very similar to how Chicago functions. So they keep it close, they don't make mistakes, and they rely on this defense to close people out.
2nd and 10 from the 9-yard line. Stafford over the middle. Catch is made by Scheffler. Roach the tackle. It will be 3rd down and 6.
4 yards on the play. 3rd down and 6.
We welcome those of you who have been watching the Giants and the Eagles. Giants stay alive, but they need a Lions win over the Bears. It's a 2-point game. Bears led by 17 late in the 2nd quarter. Lions have come roaring back. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa from Ford Field in Detroit. 3rd down and 6, and Tim Jennings makes a huge defensive play for the Bears, breaking up that pass that was intended for Chris Durham.
Tim Jennings, number 26, working at the bottom of your screen.
Nice job by him. He's just right on the receiver, waits for his opportunity, waits for the ball to get there, doesn't touch him, knocks the ball right out.
Harris punting from his own 2-yard line. After the Lions went 3 and out. This is Devin Hester. Hester forced out of bounds at the 41. So good field position for Chicago. Bears leading by 2 with 3:40 remaining. Next Sunday, Fox Sports brings you an NFC wildcard matchup between 2 of the league's best teams to find out which one will advance and keep their championship dreams alive. Our coverage begins next Sunday. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Jay Cutler and the Bears led 20-3 late in the 2nd quarter. Lions have turned the ball over 4 times today, but Detroit with 3 80-yard touchdown drives to get back into this game.
Yeah, one right at the end of the 1st half, one to start the 2nd half, the first possession of the 2nd half. And Chicago just has not taken advantage of their opportunities today.
Bears start from the 40-yard line. The toss to Matt Forte, and he's able to gain 4 out to the 44. Cliff Averill made the tackle, and now the Lions use their first timeout with 3:35 remaining. Time for a game break to Los Angeles. Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Well, a reminder that when you guys are done, America's Game of the Week has huge playoff implications. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers can wrap up the number 2 seed in the NFC. Adrian Peterson and the Vikings can get into the playoffs. By the way, Peterson could also set the single-season rushing mark. It's America's Game of the Week, the Packers and the Vikings. When you guys are done there in Detroit, Kenny Moose and News.
That's right, Kurt. Adrian Peterson 208 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's record. If you've heard the playoff scenarios once today, you've heard them 100 times. Bears need a win and the Vikings loss. If the Bears win this game, it will eliminate the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants, as Forte is out across the 47-yard line, and the Lions will use their 2nd timeout, stopping the clock with 3.5 to play.
And when we've talked to Mike Tyson, we've talked to Lovie Smith during the course of the year, if this is the way that the Chicago Bears are built, then this is a situation that has to be a part of those elements. They've got to be able to take the ball in this scenario and grind this clock out, take time off of it, make Detroit burn all their timeouts. If they do give the ball back to them, backed up into their end of the field with no timeouts left. We're going to get to see it right here on this snap. This is that 4-minute situation that you hear a lot of coaches talk about.
3rd down and 3 for Chicago. Now Cutler pulls out, and he will use a timeout. So both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Lions brought back into this game by Matthew Stafford. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes.
And this one is right at the end of the 1st half. To finally get it down to 20-10. And then they come out in the 3rd quarter, their first possession. They get to Will Heller. And then Brian Robisky on the last possession.
Lions turned it over 4 times. Bears scored 1 touchdown, held to field goal 3 times following the turnovers. Chicago led by 17. And Calvin Johnson in pursuit of 2,000 yards receiving this season is 36 shy. 3rd down and 3. Bears must get to midfield for a first down. And Cutler will take off, picks up a first down and more. Jay Cutler slides down at the Lions 34. Cutler needed 3 and he gains 19.
He competes, huh, Darryl?
Yeah.
He's tough, he competes. I'll tell you what, I like the play selection on that. You put it in his hands, put all the big guys in there, make them think run so you have everybody inside, send your receivers out, then let your offensive line go and block them guys up a little bit, give that Jay opportunity to throw the ball downfield or run for the first down. Looks like Brian Urlacher's happy about that call also.
Urlacher missing his 4th consecutive game. Well, Cutler gains 19 on a Bears first down. From the Detroit 34, it is Forte. And now the Lions will use their 3rd and final timeout with 2:38 remaining. And the Bears leading the Detroit Lions by 2. Lovie Smith's Bears started this season 7-1, just 2 wins over their last 7 games, but now on the move following that huge Cutler run.
Yeah, but the big question is, if they hang on and they win this game, and then Green Bay wins and they get into the playoffs, what are they going to do? And I think that Jimmy Johnson makes a great point at the halftime show is, I don't see these guys going anywhere in the playoffs. And it's all because of the offensive line. I really think that has handcuffed Mike Tice. It's handcuffed what they want to do offensively. I don't think they have an identity. We see them week in and week out doing different things. And I think that has been the challenge. I think that will be kind of the fatal flaw to this team when this season ends. It's been a big challenge with that offensive line, and I just don't think they've been able to figure out how to make it work.
We welcome another new audience. Bears leading the Lions by 2 as Forte stays on his feet and has a Bears first down. Takes it to the Lions 20-yard line as Forte picks up 13.
But we're seeing the key guys step out on a huge drive. We challenge Chicago in this situation. If this is how you're built, then you've got to take care of business right here. It was Jay Cutler on the big 3rd down. Look at the effort by Matt Forte right here. But we don't see it enough. And we talked about it today at the top, Kenny. This is, in the last 7 weeks, this is the 6th different starting offensive line group.
We hit the 2-minute warning. Lions no timeouts. Bears will be able to run out the clock. Back in Detroit, we welcome those of you who have been watching Tampa Bay and Atlanta. The Bears begin to celebrate with 2 minutes remaining because the Lions are out of timeouts. Chicago will be able to run the clock all the way down to 0 as Cutler takes a knee.
And now they've done their part this afternoon. They came out and they won. And again, there's not a lot of style. There's no style points in the NFL, and that's a good thing for Chicago because they have perfected winning in a tough way. So now they've got to have help. Now they've got to sit around. They've got to wait and see if the Green Bay Packers can knock off the Minnesota Vikings.
Coming up, the Lowe's Game Break Show, and then America's Game of the Week. Many of you will see the game that Lovie Smith will have foremost on his mind. The Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Lions have already used all 3 of their timeouts, so they cannot stop the clock. Cutler takes another knee. So the Chicago Bears will win for the 10th time this season and remain alive in their playoff pursuit. And a Bears win, of course, as we've been mentioning all afternoon long, will eliminate the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants, who did win their game 42-7 over the Eagles, but they needed 3 other results, including a Chicago loss. Matthew Stafford, valiant comeback, 3 touchdown passes, but the Bears turn the ball over. The Lions turn the ball over 4 times as Cutler takes one final knee. Bears remain alive. And will now take out their Green Bay Packers pom-poms.
No, cheer against the Minnesota Vikings. You can't cheer for the Packers.
So the Chicago Bears hang on, defeat the Detroit Lions by the score of 26-24. The Lions' disappointing season comes to an end with their 8th consecutive loss.
And that's a tough one. I mean, you're going into the offseason on an 8-game losing streak. There were high expectations for Detroit. It's going to be a challenging offseason for the Lions.
Bears go to 10-6. They stay alive and now must root for Green Bay to beat Minnesota. For Darryl Johnston and Tony Syracuse and Kenny Albert saying so long now to Kurt Menefee and the Gang in L.A.